Welcome. My name is Karen Deek. I'm the director of Notre Dame's MS in Patent Law and Certificate in Patent Prosecution. In this series of 2 videos, we're going to talk about the overall patenting process and give you an overview of the players and the people involved, as well as the places where these things happen, to sort of familiarize you with the process of getting and enforcing a patent. So obviously the first thing that has to happen is somebody needs to have an idea. Without an idea, there can't be a patent. And there are specific requirements for this idea. But the most important thing is that there's a good idea that actually solves a problem in the real world. Once somebody has that idea needs to be sort of assessed. And there's no real universal term for this, but harvesting is what we're going to call it. And that harvesting is an assessment of whether the idea is patentable and whether it's something that would be good for a company. It can be commercially viable. After the harvesting step, a patent application is probably going to be filed. Patents are generally how companies protect their ideas. That patent application is written by a very special professional whose job title you're going to learn about in the second video. But when I say application, I don't mean something like going to the driver's license office and filling in some information on a form. A patent application is a highly technical document that has a lot of very clear and scientific or very engineering-heavy description of whatever this idea, this invention really is. So patent applications can run to 100 pages long, in fact, without exaggeration, and they have very special both legal and technical language in them. So once that application is written, it gets filed at the U.S. Patent Office. And once the application is filed, then it gets examined. Hopefully you get a successful examination process and you end up getting a patent. An examination is where the patent office is going to actually look to make sure that the idea meets a series of requirements that actually allows it to become a patent. Not every idea is patentable. There are certain things which you can't patent. So the patent office's job is to make sure that the ideas which get filed as patent applications are actually things that should be patented. But that's not the end. Once you get your patent, after the issuance of a patent, you still have to enforce it. And this is the Apple versus Samsung, for instance, case that you've probably heard about. The court cases are when the patents are enforced. And that is something that the patent owner has to do themselves. There's no government office that does it for you. That is something that someone who holds a patent has to do. They have to go out and make sure that nobody else is stealing their idea. So that's the short version of the process. Now we're going to go around the circle again and talk about the places, the sort of, not geographical locations, but the types of environments in which each of those steps happens. So idea generation usually happens at a company. Not always, but most of the patent holders and idea generators are R&D or research and development arms of various companies. Could be big companies like GE, could be small startups that are operating out of somebody's garage or basement. Could even be just a single person in a garage or basement or in their spare time who has a good idea. But that idea has to happen, and generally it happens at companies. After that harvesting step where the idea is assessed, going to happen wherever that idea was made, right? The company wants to sell a product. And harvesting may have even happened ahead of time. If you have project development that says we're going to make this thing because we see that there's a market need for it, and then the idea, the creation of that thing happens second. So these 2 steps can, in some cases, be reversed. After the feasibility assessment, the harvesting is done, the patent application gets written. That could be done at that same company where they have somebody in-house who could do it, or that function might get outsourced to a law firm. That same place, the application is going to file. That's just an administrative act, putting something up on the web to the patent office. And then the examination, as I said before, is going to happen at the patent office. The patent office has offices in the main one in Alexandria, Virginia, also Detroit, Dallas, Silicon Valley, and Denver. And there are patent examiners, the people who do the work at each of those offices. And then finally, enforcement is going to happen, probably some combination of, or one or the other of, a law firm or the company that actually owns the patent. That just makes sense, right? The company is the one that wants to know if somebody's infringing their idea. So now you understand the patenting process, the places where these things happen, and in the next video we're going to talk about the job titles of the people who are actually involved.